Welcome to this presentation of the Rotary Club of North Bethesda, Maryland, USA. Our club was established in 1974. We meet every Friday morning at 7:45 a.m., and we often invite guest speakers to give presentations on all kinds of interesting subjects. Please contact us through our website at nbrotary.org. And thanks for watching. Our speaker today is Joni Keaton. She will be introduced by North Bethesda Rotary Club member Carmela Carr.
I'd like to introduce to you all Joni Keaton. She is from Rockville, Maryland, one of our own. Awesome. And she returned to our area after graduating in 2020 from the University of Oklahoma, where she has a dual degree in international studies and ballet performance. She began serving as an AmeriCorps, member at Rebuilding Together Montgomery County shortly after graduating, and is dedicating a year of service to help support Rebuilding Together Montgomery County's mission of repairing homes, revitalizing communities, and rebuilding lives. She now works full-time for them. Awesome. As the development and communications coordinator, and is really proud to be able to continue her work. So with that, I'll turn it over to Joni and let her tell us about Rebuilding America, or Rebuilding Montgomery County. Well, we do Rebuild America too. So.
Well, hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on here today. I'm so excited to talk with you all more about Rebuilding Together Montgomery County and the work that we're doing for our neighbors all throughout the area. So I do have a PowerPoint here that I'm just going to pull up quickly. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, great. So Carmela, thank you so much for the introduction. As Carmela was saying, I've been with the organization a little bit over a year now. I started as an AmeriCorps member doing a year of service, and I have transitioned full-time to the staff. So Rebuilding Together Montgomery County was founded in 1990, originally as an organization called Christmas in April. Christmas in April was actually started in Midland, Texas, and there were chapters that popped up all over the country. In the early 2000s, a lot of those chapters got together and rebranded as a nationally affiliated organization under the name Rebuilding Together. So we are nationally affiliated, and we have about 120 other affiliates around the country that are doing very similar work that we do right here in Montgomery County. So as Carmela also mentioned, our mission is repairing homes, revitalizing communities, and rebuilding lives. And we do this by providing free home repairs and accessibility modifications to homeowners throughout Montgomery County. We serve about 150 homeowners a year, and most of the folks we work with are the most vulnerable citizens within the community. So our seniors, veterans, folks with disabilities, single parents, and members of marginalized communities as well. So we're really focusing our attention on making sure that everyone in Montgomery County is able to stay and live in their homes safely and independently, regardless of the fact of whether they have the means to complete repairs themselves. So all the folks we serve are at the 50% and below area median income. So our average homeowner actually only makes about $22,000 annually, which, as you can imagine, in Montgomery County is an incredibly small amount to really be able to live off of. And so we see that a lot of these folks just don't have the means to deal with either deferred maintenance issues or even very active repair issues that really need more serious immediate attention. And that's kind of the place where we step in to make sure that these folks are able to get that repair help or accessibility modification help so that they can continue to live and thrive at home. We also work with other nonprofits in Montgomery County. So we will do partnership projects with nonprofits that are also serving low-income folks to help rehab some of their facilities or do a revitalization project there. We're funded primarily by county and state grants. So we get a lot of funding from Montgomery County and the state of Maryland, as well as smaller foundations and other grants. And of course, we also have a lot of private donations that help keep us going. So we're really proud of the work that we do. And here's just a quick overview of our team. We have 5 full-time staff members right now, and then 1 AmeriCorps member, and we are actually getting 2 new AmeriCorps members in January. So we're very lucky that our team is going to be expanding a little bit. So this is just a brief overview of who we are. So what our impact is really trying to do is help ensure that Montgomery County homeowners, as I said, are able to remain safely and independently at home. So we have a big focus on aging in place and making sure that folks who are older are able to remain in their homes for as long as they wish. That's where a lot of our accessibility work comes in, making sure that we can modify the home in such a way that homeowners are able to remain there. Even if they start to develop some mobility issues, even if getting around isn't quite as easy as it once was in their home. By proxy, we're also, with our repair work, we're also trying to help preserve the affordable housing stock in Montgomery County. So affordable housing is, of course, sort of a hot issue right now on a lot of people's minds. And so we're really trying to make sure that the housing stock that already exists is really able to house folks even after the folks who are living them in now maybe pass on or move out. And so that these homes can really be lived in by other families, and that every person in Montgomery County has the opportunity to live in a home that is affordable to them. Because of course, as we know, Montgomery County, a lot of the housing here is very expensive. And so we feel that preserving the stock that is here and making sure we can get the repair help that these homeowners currently living there need will help to preserve the housing for other folks in the future as well. But of course, primarily we're trying to keep people in their homes. And so we see a lot of improved physical and mental health with the homeowners we serve, less stress and anxiety surrounding really serious repair issues. Of course, the greater ability to move around the home, the injury reduction. We have a big focus on reducing falls in seniors. And trying to work on modifying homes to prevent injuries like that. We see greater independence and homeowner pride. Being able to take care of some of these issues that have sometimes been going on for years for folks is a really, really impactful thing for them. Making sure that they feel really safe and comfortable in their houses, especially now, during the pandemic when so many of them have been inside, or so many of us honestly have been inside for so long and kind of have to have our home now really as a strong home base. It's more important than ever that people feel really safe and comfortable there. And then we have a lot of volunteers who work with us. So I'll talk a little bit more about how we should have folks help in a second here, but we have a big focus on engaging community members, bringing community members into the mix to volunteer for their neighbors. And really strengthening the connections within the community, the connections between our homeowners and our volunteers, and just really making Montgomery County a more a nicer community to live in together. So, and I talked about this a little bit already, so some of this is a little repetitive, but one of our big impacts is of course related to health and safety. So, by doing a lot of the repair work that we do in homes, we're able to reduce a lot of risks related to different kinds of issues. So one of the big things we focus on is moisture reduction. We see a lot of homes that we work on have a lot of water intrusion issues. Many of them were built, back in the mid to late 20th century. So they may not have the kinds of features that homes have today to really be as watertight as possible. And then of course, just existing for that long, things wear down in the home and need to be sort of revitalized to be able to continue to support the homeowners living there. So we focus a lot on moisture reduction, which, of course, helps reduce other really serious issues like mold and pests. We look at making sure that homeowners always have a functional HVAC system so that in the winter they can be kept warm and in the summer they can be kept cool. And really making sure their home is, again, the most comfortable place for them to be. They don't have to feel, unsafe or uncomfortable having to be in their home. We also do a lot of other repair work, such as roofs. We work on electrical, plumbing. So our work is very tailored to the specific needs that we find for our homeowners. And so we make sure that we're able to address the specific issues that are going to make them the safest and healthiest. And we're happy to report that most folks, report after we do repairs that they do feel that their health has improved living in the home, which is really great and is exactly what we're trying to accomplish. So as I mentioned before, reducing falls is something we really focus on. So with our accessibility work, we install a lot of grab bars, a lot of railings leading up to front doors where folks don't have them. We can install stair lifts. For wheelchair users, we're able to install ramps. But we're trying to do all of this accessibility work, as I said, to really make sure people are able to move around their homes, even as they get older. And falls being the number one, reason that older adults may end up in the hospital or may have really serious health complications. We feel that it's really important to make sure we take these little steps. Even something as simple as installing a grab bar can mean the difference between a person, really thriving and feeling comfortable getting in and out of the shower, or not so much. So this is something we're also really dedicated to. And luckily, a lot of accessibility work is really that simple, just installing supports where people need them to make sure that they feel safe. So of course, aging in place is really big to us as well. So for low-income homeowners, especially, the most affordable place for them to live is the home that they're already in. And so many of these folks, on such low fixed incomes aren't able to really think about other options. And so their home is their place that they want to stay, that they intend to remain for the rest of their lives. And so we want to make sure that they're able to do that, that their home supports that. So of course, creating greater independence with all those accessibility modifications really helps to ensure that they're able to continue living there through all stages of their life. And then we work with a lot of disabled folks, as I mentioned before as well. And sometimes, folks will come to us who haven't been able to, shower in a year because they were, in an accident and are now in a wheelchair, and they haven't been able to figure it out, because they don't have the money to necessarily take care of or repair right away to modify their home in a way that works for them. So that's where we come in and we try and make sure that we can make these adjustments. And then last thing here about kind of our impact is really just the pride that we try and instill in homeowners being in their homes. So I don't think sometimes we realize how much our home means to us and how much it means sort of in our relationship to others in our community. So for example, we have homeowners who have felt really uncomfortable even having friends over just because they felt that their home had so many repair issues and they didn't want people to see and they were ashamed of it. And so we try to remove that stigma around, having issues within the home and try and make them feel really proud to be where they live, that they are a homeowner, that they have been living here for however many years, many of them for many, many years. And we try and address those issues that are going to help them be able to continue to interact with their community and continue to feel comfortable really being inside their home and having others over in a lot of cases. A lot of the homeowners we work with are very isolated though. And so one thing that we also try and do is really just make sure that as we're coming in, we're very cognizant about how we talk about the home and approach the homeowners because we want, sometimes we're the first people who have come in the home in a long time. And we want to make sure homeowners know that we're there to help, that their home is, a beautiful place that supports them. And we want to come in and help as much as possible to make it even better. But we really try and make sure we're developing relationships with homeowners versus, coming in and just starting to swing hammers immediately and then leaving. So that's a really big focus of ours as well, really making sure we build that relationship with the homeowner and make them feel, proud to be in Montgomery County, proud to be living here, irregardless of the various issues that we hope to tackle for them. So again, a little bit repetitive, I apologize, but as I mentioned before, with our sort of community engagement component, we work with a lot of volunteers. Since our inception, we've actually engaged more than 50,000 community volunteers who have come out to do repair work, accessibility work for their neighbors. So again, we try and really make sure that we are working as a community, that we're strengthening the relationships between our homeowners, our volunteers, our staff, and that it's a really great opportunity to not only help your neighbors, but get to know them. In Montgomery County, I think this is a really beautiful opportunity for us to sort of grow our interconnectedness with our fellow neighbors. So this is just one example of a veteran we helped, named Mr. John R. So to give you an example of the kind of impact we have, he had severe leaking in his roof, and so a lot of water was coming into the home. It was a really difficult situation for him and his wife who are living there. And so we put on a brand new roof, stopped all the water intrusion, and the impact of this repair is really significant because probably that roof, his home would have lasted him another couple of years with all that was going on. And of course, it was extremely difficult dealing with it even then. And so putting on this new roof will mean the difference between him either being able to maybe stay there for a little longer, being able to stay there for the rest of his life, or for however long they wish to. So, something that we may not think about is really, really impactful for a homeowner who has really nowhere else to turn to. And again, with some of these things, homeowners haven't had the opportunity to keep up maintenance on the homes because they just haven't had the money. So, some of us may, be able to hire an HVAC technician to come out and check that everything's okay, or hire a roofer to come out and check that everything's fine on the roof. But a lot of times these folks aren't able to. And so when it gets to the point that it's this serious, they have no idea where to turn to for help. And that's where we really try and make sure that we're an available resource. And of course, we love to get quotes from our homeowners to really encapsulate the experience. So John said that helping each other in both small and large ways really does matter. You never know when you're going to need help. I'm very grateful to all those that have helped me. So they were a lovely couple to work with. And we really enjoyed being able to do this for them to ensure that they were able to stay in their home as long as they would like to. So just a little bit more about the kinds of volunteering opportunities that we kind of provide for our homeowner or for our community, for our homeowners, that I'll go through here in a little bit more detail. We welcome all kinds of volunteers, skilled and unskilled. We have folks who volunteer with us that have been general contractors for 30 years, and we have folks who have never even picked up a hammer before. So we really try and make sure that anyone who wants to volunteer can either be trained on what they need to do or can fill whatever role we need them to in a repair project. So whether that be unskilled or skilled work. As I said, we have a couple of different volunteer opportunities that I'll get into in a little bit more detail on the next slides. We also have folks with handy skills that come out to volunteer year round to do things like grab bar installations or other things that you would definitely need some training for, but that may be cheaper for us than hiring a contractor to do it. And then we also have occupational therapists who work with us. So even though our staff is trained to be able to kind of assess the home for accessibility modifications that might benefit the homeowner, of course, occupational therapists have years and years of training to really have that special eye to know what might benefit someone in their home. So we're very lucky that a lot of occupational therapists volunteer with us as well in order to, kind of see how we can make a deeper impact in the home. So one of our biggest projects, or our biggest project actually every year, is called National Rebuilding Day. It's held annually in April, and actually this past year we had it in September. We pushed it back because of COVID concerns. So after 2 years, we're excited to be returning to National Rebuilding Day in April in 2022. And this is a weekend event where 20 to 25 groups come together to work on 20 to 25 homes around Montgomery County in a weekend. And so those groups come from faith-based organizations, businesses, sometimes other nonprofits will partner with us. So there's these 20 to 25 groups working all over the county in this one weekend to do really extensive and impactful repair work for the families living there. And so these groups will come out, sponsor the home, bring their volunteers, and work the entire day to make sure that all these repair issues are addressed for the homeowners in their homes. And of course, as with all of our other work, homeowners are never charged for anything we do. So once homeowners are approved for services, they never pay anything, where it's covered completely by our grants and donations. So it's really the volunteers coming in and donating their time to get these repairs done, which is incredible. And then we also have a project called She Builds that we do every year in partnership with Women Building Washington and the ABC of Metro Washington chapter. And these are projects by women, for women, with women. So for example, our last She Builds project in 2021, we partnered with Interfaith Works, another Montgomery County nonprofit, to help at Becky's House, which is a residential home that houses 8 formerly homeless, elderly disabled women. So we had a project there to do some work rehabbing the home. And we had all female volunteers from various skilled trade companies in and around the DC, DMV area come out to actually do that. So not all of them have skilled trades backgrounds, even though they work for skilled trades companies. Some of them work in administration or on project management. So it's really nice to have them come out, and they may not have had the opportunity to actually do hands-on work before. And this is where we love inviting unskilled volunteers as well, and training them on things, giving them the skills they need to help their neighbors, and making sure it's a good project for everyone. So if you're interested in kind of seeing what the process looks what the process looks like for our homeowners in a little bit more in-depth detail, I'll kind of run through it quickly here. So we have an application for our repair services that's open year-round. So we constantly have homeowners applying to us. Once homeowners are approved, our staff goes out to do what we call a home assessment visit to make sure that we understand what's going on in the home, that we're aware of all of the issues there before we can actually make a plan to address them. From there, we'll kind of determine what project we think would be most suited to that particular home. So year-round, we hire contractors through local businesses in the community to do repair work, or with more specialized repairs. Of course, we'll hire companies. So if we have HVAC concerns or roofing concerns, we're going to be getting specialists for those. And then with other issues, we'll hire, as I said, businesses in the community to take care of that work. Or we'll decide that it's a good home for a volunteer project. And so that's when we may organize a National Rebuilding Day project there, or a She Builds project. And we'll start working on getting everything set up to have our volunteers come out to do those repairs for the homeowner then. So this is the process we kind of go through to get folks help. As I said, we're really focused on building relationships with our homeowners. So we like their voices to be heard through every step of the process, and we try to make sure that they're always comfortable with everything going on. We do make sure that they're always comfortable with everything going on. And so it's often, honestly, very emotional to say goodbye to them, just because we go through kind of this whole process. It's really impactful, and I think it goes both ways. I know for me and for the rest of our staff, it's really amazing for us to be able to help these folks and see what a difference, something as simple as installing grab bars can mean to them. So that's about it for me. So I'm happy to take any questions you guys have. This is just a brief overview of our organization and the work we're really aiming to do throughout Montgomery County. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys might have.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you
that
so
was an
much.
excellent presentation. Really appreciate
you.
the work you guys are doing. Very thorough. Unfortunately, if you look at the audience here, I'm 80 and most of us are up there in age.
Mhm.
So physically being able to do this, 50 years ago when I joined Rotary, I could have, but not now. So maybe there's some other way we can support financially, maybe. Maybe the
And
board.
no, that's great. And we actually you might surprise yourself. So we have volunteers that come out that are some older folks. So of course, you should never do anything you're not comfortable with. But we do have folks who come out who just really have a passion for what we do. Maybe were working in skilled trades when they were younger and really want to be able to continue in some way. So we try to work with our volunteers and make sure we're giving them tasks that are suited to what they feel comfortable doing as well. But we do have some older folks who work with us, and it's really beautiful to see that too. That some of the older folks are helping to support either their peers in the community or even some of the younger folks now living here, some of the younger families. So yeah, so thank you for that.
Jimmy Carter still does his work with Habitat for Humanity, building houses. So it can be done.
Yep. And we're actually, people often kind of compare us to Habitat for Humanity. I always kind of say that Habitat for Humanity builds the houses and we're the ones who repair them. So both working on housing, making sure people are, in homes that are safe for them, but slightly different approaches.
So do you interact with Habitat for Humanity? Because I think they do similar kind of work, even repairing the
so
house.
we have a great relationship with Habitat for Humanity Metro Maryland. They work in Montgomery and Prince George's County. So we know the leadership there, and we will actually sometimes bounce ideas off of each other about homes, or they do now have a repairs program they're starting to develop more. So they now are starting to do some similar work that we do. So sometimes we have homeowners that we're not able to help for various reasons, and we'll send them to Habitat or the other way around. So we're constantly looking for the best solution for the homeowners. So we will sometimes partner with Habitat either on the home or kind of refer back and forth.
Is counties helping you at all in terms of finances?
I'm sorry, one more time.
Is the county, Montgomery County, is helping you as financially at all?
Yes. So the majority of our budget actually comes from the Montgomery County government. So we have a large grant that comes through every year that helps pay for the majority of the projects we're doing for our homeowners. We're very lucky that the Montgomery County government is actually very supportive of our mission. We're in constant contact with the Department of Aging and Disability and some folks there who will send referrals our way. We're also actually, one of our board members is the Villages coordinator for Montgomery County. I don't know if you all have heard of the Villages, but they're kind of a grassroots initiative of getting some seniors in the community together to help support one another. And we're very lucky to see the Village coordinators on our board. So that's another way we're kind of in the Montgomery County sphere of things, trying to, through the government, work with other referrals and folks around the county.
How do you qualify your repair people?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So with the contractors that we bring on kind of as part of our team, they are independent businesses, but we kind of have a set pool that we use. We always start with a group Zoom call with the team and the contractor. So it's most important to us to make sure that the contractors we're hiring really understand who we are, what our mission is, and really where we're coming from in terms of helping these folks. We feel it's important that they need to understand how most of these folks are living, kind of what their circumstances are, in order to be able to translate that to a positive repair experience for the homeowners. So we'll sit down with them, kind of get a sense of whether they kind of understand our mission and what we're trying to strive to do in the community. And then from there, if we feel it's a good match, we get all the licensing, insurance information to make sure that they're completely, legitimate and that we're covered by everything they're covered. And from there, we'll give them kind of what we call a test project to see how it goes, whether we're satisfied with the work that they do, whether the homeowner is satisfied. And from there, we'll continue to develop the relationship, or in some cases, we've had contractors who didn't quite understand what we were going for, weren't really willing to work with us in the way that we felt was best for the homeowners. So in that case, we would, let them go from there. So it's a process that we're constantly trying to bring on new contractors that we feel really understand our mission, are able to help support us, but we want to make sure we're getting the right folks.
That's very impressive. Thank you.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
These homeowners, these people, they own the homes that they're in, I guess, because you're.
Yes. So we only work on homes that are owned. We unfortunately aren't able to work on rental properties, so we work only for homeowners.
So my question is, I mean, you have an income requirement. I mean, some of these homes may be worth a lot.
Mm-hmm.
How do you? These people are house rich, I guess, and cash poor. Is that how you identify them?
Yeah, so in some cases, we do look at the equity of the home during the process of qualifying someone. So we have a stated equity limit that we look at, but we're more flexible on it, just because with some of these folks, they bought their home in 1970 when the house was worth, maybe a fraction of its worth today. And just because of how the market's developed around here, because of how much housing prices have increased, and they're now sitting on a ton of equity that they didn't have when they first bought the home. So we try and look at the situation holistically. So someone living in $1 million home, we're probably not going to qualify for repair services. We haven't actually seen that come up where someone would apply to us with a very, very low amount of income, but then a home that was worth that much. But we do have folks that come to us with homes worth $600,000, $700,000 now. And, so my response to that would be that one of the things we also hope to do is try and help these people build intergenerational wealth. So it's not something specifically stated in our mission, but, these folks don't have the cash on hand to do the repairs they need in the home. So of course, we could tell them, go take out a reverse mortgage, go take out a home equity line of credit. You have all this equity you're sitting on. But, then that can create further issues for them because of predatory schemes that are, often accompanying reverse mortgages and home equity lines of credit. And then if they wish to pass that home on or, to a family member, a child, then of course that creates a situation where they're really not able to have equity to pass on. So, again, it's not something we're necessarily super focused on in the day-to-day of our work, is this sort of idea of building intergenerational wealth, but we feel it is important in the community, especially because a lot of the folks we serve do come from marginalized backgrounds and haven't sort of been able to build that wealth within the generations that have lived here in the county. So it's a tricky question, looking at equity and kind of how we qualify folks with that. As I said, we try to be as holistic as possible. And, sometimes it really is a question of the fact that folks moved here many, many years ago when their house was worth, they bought it for $50,000 and now it's worth so much, but it has nothing to do with anything that they've done. It's just the housing market. And so, of course, you could also tell that person, well, why don't you just move, but probably even now they couldn't find a home that they would be able to afford in Montgomery County that was even 10 times smaller than what they're living in. So we try to just be really cognizant of all the factors involved in making a decision about whether we feel it's a home that we should be working on.
Well, the home itself may not be worth that much, but the land may be worth a whole lot. So they may have
exactly.
lived in a bungalow, and that's what they could afford. And now that they're 80 or 90 years old and don't have much of an income, they can't repair it. I mean, I can see that situation happening. In fact, I know it happens. And they're sitting on a piece of land that's worth $500,000 or $600,000. but the home itself is not in very good shape. And maintaining that home for that family, you know, housing for the poor is really a problem in Montgomery County. So what you're doing really makes a big difference. And the value of the home, I don't know, if they don't have the income, the cash flow to make basic repairs, you know, asking them to sell their home and move is where do they go? You know,
Yeah, exactly.
where do they go?
Exactly. And that's, you know, again, something we're focusing on too with preserving this affordable housing stock. Because as you said, you know, a lot of times in these places that these folks live, they're in big neighborhoods, or they're in sort of neighborhoods where more of the houses look like that. And people are really interested in developing it. You know, as soon as people die or the house isn't passed on, a developer will buy it and build another huge home that is not part of the affordable housing stock. So again, that's where we come in, try and rehab the home as much as possible so that it can potentially be passed on to another family member or someone else in the community who really needs that affordable option.
Well, thank you for your discussion and talk. It's certainly something that we in Montgomery County could use a lot of, you know, help with the people that are forgotten, I suppose, and appreciate the work that you're doing. But we have to end it now. It's 8:30, the bottom of the hour, or middle of the hour, I guess, and we officially end at 8:30. So anybody wants to continue discussing anything with Joni, you're welcome to do so, but the meeting is officially over. Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you so much. If anyone has any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. So thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you for all your work.